South African retail group Steinhoff International takes over the UK discount chain Poundland in a £597 million deal. Sudan's inflation rate rises to 14.31% in June. Plus, UN's World Food Programme warns of the damaging effects of El Nino and La Nina on global food security. Welcome to Business Incorporated. Thank you for joining us. I am Bolaji Akinwale. We'll begin with the Asian markets as the Japanese shares rose for a third day in a row, leading a positive trend across the Asian Pacific region. Investors remain optimistic that the election win for Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's party over the weekend will lead to more stimulus measures. Tokyo's Nikkei 225 index closed 0.8% higher at 16,231.43. In China, Hong Kong's Hang Seng's index rose 0.4%, while the mainland Shanghai Composite edged 0.2% higher. Meanwhile, Australia's benchmark ASX 200 index in Sydney rose 0.7%. And in South Korea, the Kospi closed up 0.7%. It's the last day in office for David Cameron, and the UK is ready to welcome its new Prime Minister, Theresa May. Now let's see how the markets in Europe are warming up to this development, as DWTV Channel's TV financial correspondent Annette Wisbach joins me from the Frankfurt Stock Exchange. Annette, welcome to the program. Now, how is the market gearing up for Theresa May's takeover as the UK Prime Minister?
Well, actually, ever since the markets were convinced that there will be a political solution very soon to the leadership crisis in the United Kingdom, things were getting better step by step also for the markets. We now have seen the DAX at least already on levels not, well, at least having recouped 50% of the losses after the Brexit vote. The United States are actually reaching record high territory already. So I think the markets are taking it very positively that there will be a new government. But it remains, of course, to be seen what Theresa May means for business. If you read through a speech she has given 2 days ago in London about her vision for business, that sounds not very liberal, but, to say the least. She's seeing a bigger role for the state playing also a role in industrializing or reindustrializing the country, and she wants to have a more equal Britain, which also would mean a cap on corporate access, meaning high pay in the city, something London is kind of known for.
Well, the EU finance ministers have moved sanctions against Spain and Portugal to overshooting EU deficit limits. What is the discussion in the markets concerning this?
Well, actually, I think everybody's very calm because now it's like a warning shot to Spain and Portugal. We have seen Spain reacting directly. They have promised to raise taxes in order to tackle the deficit for this year, to sort of convince the European fellow partners in Brussels that they are doing something to get their budget right, which also could mean that this penalty will get out of the way. You have to know that this penalty can amount up to 0.2% of the GDP of the individual countries, but it can only, it's an option. It can also be zero, and that's the buzz now. Though if both countries show some willingness to improve their finances for the current budget and the budget for next year, then also the European leaders could say, okay, we are actually not penalizing you for last year and the year before. So these countries now have 10 days, and within these 10 days they have to come up with a plan, and so the European leaders will only come up with the penalties which actually have to be paid after those 10 days.
Okay, Annette, just before I let you go, talk to us about the companies that are making news in the market today.
Well, we have various companies moving. There is a deal when it comes to steel between the EU and China, and that is why we have ThyssenKrupp and other steel makers quite trading up positively, because it means that steel prices might actually rise if China will cut its overcapacity. Also, plane makers are moving. There's this big air show in Farnborough. We had bad news coming out from Airbus yesterday evening regarding a restructuring of the A380s, you know, the super jumbo business. They're cutting the production here, but on the other side today there's more positive news from more sales for other models of their fleet. So all in all, actually the market is positive also for Airbus. So that's it for today, I would say, when it comes to big share price movements here on the market side.
Thank you so much, Annette. We're back, the WTV Channels TV financial correspondent from Frankfurt. Okay, moving on now. South African retail group Steinhoff International has taken over the UK discount chain Poundland in a £597 million deal. The offer is comprised of 220 pence per Poundland share, as well as a final dividend of 2 pence per share. The move for Poundland is Steinhoff's third attempt this year to increase its presence in Europe after walking away from high-profile takeover battles for Britain's Home Retail and Francis Darty. The UN's World Food Programme says the recent El Nino weather event, one of the strongest on record, has wound down, but its damaging effect on the food security of the most vulnerable countries continues to increase and will be felt through mid-2017. Concerns are also growing about La Nina event materializing in the second half of 2016, which is expected to affect millions globally. La Nina is associated with weather conditions over much of Australia and increased numbers of tropical cyclones.
Effects of El Nino and a bad drought last year already means that there have been 2 bad seasons. So we expect that even next season, even if it is good, there will still be effects of these 2 seasons because farmers may not always have the seeds that they need. Some of the livestock will have died, so they will need to restock. So normalcy may not turn until about 2 seasons from now.
There is almost 200,000 people who are in immediate need and whose real challenges are very real, to do with food, to do with water, to do with their basic livelihoods. These are people who without aid would probably not live literally to see the next season, as opposed to the bulk of the population that might struggle. But these are the ones we don't want to leave behind because they are particularly vulnerable.
And Airbus has more than halved its delivery target for its Super Jumbo A380 planes. The company said it would supply 12 of the aircraft per year from 2018, down from the 27 it delivered in 2015. Meanwhile, Airbus and Boeing had raised the long-term forecasts for new aircraft demand, betting that rising wealth in Asia would continue to boost air travel and offset any short-term hits to the global economy. This announcement was made at the biennial Farnborough Air Show, which opened on Monday, 45 miles southwest of London. We're going to break. When we come back, we'll bring you more stories. Please stay with us.